It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
I did. Oh, wow. Right on the tip. Just on the tip.
And Blabs. Co-hosted by our friends from around the internet.
There is a portion of Norway where it is legally required to carry a firearm at all times.
If you're just a normal man looking for common sense in this crazy-ass world, you've come to the right place. And now, broadcasting from our homes from around the internet, it's time for Side Scrollers.
Okay, you ready? Open wide!
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollersPodcast.com. Hey, are you ready for a great show today? We got a good one. Hey, everybody, I'm Stuttering Craig. Happy Thursday to you. My, oh my, did the internet giveth in the last 24 hours. We're glad you guys are hanging out with us this morning, because we got a great guest today. In addition to our wonderful mercenary herself, she's here to kill and dominate and produce the shit out of this show. It's Steph. Steph, how are you?
Hi, I'm back again. I'm excited. I'm excited for today.
It's been a good power week so far.
It's been a long morning. I've been up since 7. I feel like really wired this morning.
Yeah.
I had like 2 cups of coffee and I'm shaking. So
A lot of caffeine.
it's a little too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm shaking, but I'm wide awake.
Good for you. Well, let's keep that juices flowing. Let's go.
Keep it going.
Let's go. Hey, someone who I guarantee has had way too much caffeine. Look at the energy just percolating and radiating from today's guest, Warren Smith.
Hey.
Hi.
How you
How are
doing,
you?
Warren?
I'm
Great to
good. Good morning or afternoon.
If there's one thing that we can count on from you, Warren, it's just smooth. Smooth right there. Hey, first and foremost, how you doing, man? I know you're in North Carolina, up there in the Carolinas. I know there's a lot of chaos going on over there, and being here in Texas, and I just hear about it on the news. It looks like it's absolute chaos. Everything doing okay over there?
Well, to say it's okay would be, a misstatement, but I'm fortunate, and it's been crazy, but things are okay.
I saw your video talking about Elon Musk and all that stuff, and that video has been passed around on social media greatly, and that's awesome. It should be. There's a lot of valuable information there. So the one thing that I picked up on from that, Warren, is that maybe the news may not be accurately portraying what's happening.
I agree. Yeah. And I've had people that normally wouldn't contact me, like some cousins, that normally don't really they disagree with me on many things, but they actually texted me about that video and they were like, thank you for doing that one. So
awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Well, man, hopefully all is okay. And if we can help you in any way, shape, or form, just say those.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it, but I'm good.
Obviously, we got a lot of friends in Florida as well who literally just got beat the hell out of yesterday with Milton. So, this hurricane season, man, it's chaos. So, obviously a lot of normal men out there as well in Florida. So you guys stay safe. I saw Lorena, awesome. She's been on several times. Lorena toughed through it, and she's still doing her thing. So if anybody needs help, you guys just if we can help signal boost something, you guys need help with anything, just let us know. We'll help you guys out.
Yep. Jay and Krista are okay, and Beardo is good, but he's still without power.
Yeah. Man, what a bunch! Can't even imagine. I thought
I saw that a third one is forming.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the dude who's kind of gone viral over the last 12 hours or so, the Lieutenant Dan guy? Have you guys seen this at all?
I have, and I saw like the controversial stuff this morning about him that's come to light.
Oh no, I don't know anything about this. What's going on? Hold on. What's going on with this guy?
I don't know. Did you see Quartering's tweet?
No. What's up?
That he's a pedio.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, no.
So there's some controversy there because some people think that it's a rap sheet for someone else, but then there's other people who have said that he's gone by like 4 different names and it's the same person, and he has like a whole rap sheet.
Well, he's gone viral, and that's the thing about the internet is these people get spotlighted and you really don't know the truth about him, right? But the long and short of it, Warren, was this guy was going to stay on his boat. He was going to ride out the storm, and this TikToker went out there and started following him. And they're like, "You sure you're going to be out here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to stay out here." Anyways, he showed up this morning and everything was fine. So it was just kind of like he's got one leg like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump and all that. So maybe his leg got chopped off for doing bad things to kids. I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to speculate, but
those are allegations that are out there, unconfirmed, but they're out there against.
Yeah. Of course. Well, like I said, people get picked up all the time by the internet, and you really don't know their full backstory. Like Haktua Girl, we were talking about her yesterday, how she's become this internet darling. Well, we don't know if she's really a big piece of shit or anything, but did you see? She's promoting the Mr. Beast Lunchable alternative, Lunchly.
Is she? I didn't know that.
Yes, the girl who got famous for her blowjob technique is promoting the kids' lunch foods.
I wonder who advised her to do that. That's incredible.
Well, it's all tied in.
It's all tied to Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul runs her podcast and sells ad for her network and stuff. So, anyways, we are not associated with Logan Paul or his network, or have any desire to be associated with Logan Paul or his network, but we are live over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Do us a favor, hit the follow button over there. We also have an X account where you could have found out that Warren was going to be on the show today. We also have an Instagram account over there as well, and a Kick account. And of course, you can listen to the show over on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Not right now, because I'm not actually uploading the audio version because Blabs isn't here to do that for me. But next week, the audio version will be back, which is great. Of course, we want you guys to head over to sidescrollerspodcast.com, create a free account over there, because once again, we are going to be doing a lot more stuff over there as we move into year 3. We're talking about, like February of next year. We got a lot planned. So we're working on stuff moving into next year. So get on it, doggone it. If you want to become a member over there and support us, that's a great way to do it as well. It's the best place to do it, as a matter of fact. But if you're hanging out over here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Join the 101,838 normal men who found common sense in the video game and entertainment space. And let's do our best to get to 1,000 likes, as each like today will bring Kotaku one step closer to closing, which will be great. So hit that thumbs up button, as I expect to see a full spike. With that said, we got a lot going on today. So let's see what Blabs gave us for today in video game history. And I'll tell you what, today we got a doozy, because today the godfather of modern video gaming was released. 44 years ago, in 1980, Pac-Man was released in the arcade. I mean, what a big day today is, huh? It's pretty cool. You guys got any Pac-Man memories?
It's in the machine that has Galaga.
I'm dealing with rookies today, Steph.
I know it's sad. I never understood the appeal, but
That Pac-Man?
Yeah, but I understand that was like the first one, right? So it probably was pretty cool when it first came out.
Pac-Man, I mean, it's the best. Specifically, Miss Pac-Man is the best, because Miss Pac-Man has there's a speed chip in it, and it moves so much faster than the original Pac-Man. Anyways, I've always wanted what was called the tabletop version of Pac-Man that you can like sit down at and play looking down at. Like that's the Pac-Man that I want. So
okay.
So anyways,
I do have one memory of Pac-Man, and it's my family used to go to the laundromat for like a few months because our washer and dryer broke when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
And at the laundromat, they had this system, I don't know, that you like sit down in a chair and it's in front of you like that. Like
right. Uh-huh.
It's not a stand machine. Oh my God, I don't know what they're called.
I know you're talking about they're horizontal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my brothers would go crazy on that thing. They would always ask for change, and my parents always had change because we were at the laundromat. So
well, there you go. This is, it's funny you mentioned this. I always go back to this famous line from Wayne's World, the wonderful 1991 classics. You guys seen the Wayne's World movie back in the day? Please tell me you have. Thank God. All right, good God.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This line right here.
What is the difference between Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man, really?
Well, she has a bow in her head.
It's such a great line. Well, she's got a bow. Anyway, so Pac-Man is old today, older than me, which is that's old as shit. Some other noticeable games that Blabs missed on her list include Samurai Showdown 5, Backyard Baseball for the PC 27 years ago, God Hand for the PlayStation 2, and we saw Portal and Team Fortress 2 as well listed there. So yeah, a lot of we're getting into video game release season now, where the fourth quarter is where companies would start releasing it for the holiday season. So now we're going to get some bangers throughout the remainder of the year, which is great. So yeah. Javi came in, says Milton Damage Report. I'm alive and have power. Let's go, Javi.
Let's go.
Congratulations. Way to tough through it. We hope no normal man is struggling out there. Snake Master says, Warren, you, sir, are the GOAT. Schools today definitely need to teach more critical thinking and less critical race. Let's go. You're the GOAT.
It's a good point. I don't know about that. I think Peter, I said that to Peter because when we were just talking about that, I was like, dude, you're the GOAT. Like when I first got to, he was the first person to message me. So that was an honor getting to do that, because I do see him as the GOAT of like real life critical thinking, street epistemology stuff.
Yeah, Peter Boghossian, he is.
Yeah.
So you did a video.
What would it take?
A video with him recently where he more or less, he goes out and he lays down a thought, I guess, this is this. And then he has like on the floor, you can kind of stand where you want to go. It's pretty genius, man. Pretty genius stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So he reached out to you?
Shortly after, like when I lost my job, he reached out and just kind of offer advice, and he actually helped me find like a lawyer and all that. So it was like having like a voice of support, someone just to talk to, like behind the scenes. And we just and then we did a podcast together, and then finally we got to do something in real life. It was really cool.
Hell yeah, man. That's a dude that I would love to interview and talk with.
Yeah,
smart cat.
Yeah.
Ozzy Mandius came and says, hello, Craig and guest. Last night's Arch Savvy combo was incredible. I haven't laughed so hard in a while. Can we make this a regular thing? Rip DD. I like the idea of Arch and Savvy being on the show. It was definitely chaos, so much so that our show got demonetized yesterday.
Really?
Did it?
Oh, listen.
Why?
What'd you like?
Saying the wrong things. That's just what happens. We get we instead of the green $sign on YouTube, we get the yellow one, which means distribution is there. Yeah, sorry, I didn't say demonetized, but limited monetization and distribution. So, John says, "I got Pac-Man fever." Good for you, John. Love that. Appreciate that. Clemson says Steph is greater than Mazza. There we go. Welcome to the club.
Everyone's greater than Mazza.
Joey came in with a $20 super chat. Says, hey, Warren, I was born and raised here in Puerto Rico, and I can definitely sympathize with your situation. Hurricane Maria was a horrible experience for us here. Stay strong and use this time to grow as a person. Stay safe. Joey, that's very nice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, to be clear too, I'm not in North Carolina right now. Like I have power and everything. Right? I'm in Massachusetts, but my family's in North Carolina, and that's where I grew up. And yeah,
it was shocking to hear you say you had a tattoo.
I do.
Look at that,
right there, North Carolina.
Whoa, right over the heart, man.
And it's the Lord of the Rings. When I went to get it, I brought a Lord of the Rings paperback, and I was like, "Can you do the mountains like this, like the map?" You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it sort of looks like it, but yeah, it was in a strip mall, so it wasn't like.
Yeah, I've never had a tattoo, but I got to be honest. I don't know if like. I don't want to go to I don't know if the strip mall.
Yeah, don't go to a strip mall.
Right.
Yeah, no, go somewhere special, like Japanese or something, in like Japan, in the mountains or something.
It out.
Have I ever? I don't think I've told this story on the show. Maybe I have. No, I know. I think I have actually. But the craziest place I've ever seen a tattoo received was in Taiwan. Actually, we were there for a trip, and in Taiwan, this guy. We were through we were brought out there by the Taiwanese tourism group or something, and they like guided us around all these places. And one of the guys on the trip was he said he wanted to get a tattoo. It's like one of the things he does when he traveled. So they're like, well, we know this guy and he's like really famous in the area, so we'll set something up. So the next morning, it's our last day there. We go over to this guy's apartment, right? And we stand outside for like 2 hours because he like knocking on his door and he's not there. Anyways, after like 2 hours of waiting, he comes to the door in a robe, right? Like he's fully naked underneath. Like it comes in a robe, and you could tell he's strung out, high, whatever. You know, he's had a long night, right?
Oh no.
And it's still going. And anyways, they're like, our tour guides are like, we're so sorry. And the guy who's getting the tattoo, he's like, I don't care. Let's go. Let's do it. So before he gets the tattoo, by the way, I'd like to point out that his like 4-year-old son is there as well. And this is the most craziest batshit thing I've ever seen, right? But what do you do in the situation? Before he gives this guy Jack the tattoo, the guy puts on his glass table ketamine, slices it up. His kid is separated between him and the ketamine by the glass table. So his kid is literally looking underneath his dad as this guy does a line of ketamine here. And everyone's like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my God.
And
is he the guy doing the tattoo?
yes, he's the guy doing the tattoo. And this we did a whole video about our trip to Taiwan, and that did not make it into the cut.
Oh, that's a shame.
But I feel it's been long enough. I can talk about that. But it was one of those things where it was the saddest thing because this poor little kid sitting underneath there, he's like got no chance, you know, at success ever because his dad's just getting high. And we were like, is he okay, like, to do this tattoo? And he's like, yeah, it keeps me focused. I'm ready to go. I do my best work. And you know, so anyways, that was the craziest place I've ever seen a tattoo. Was the guy that did your tattoo, was he high on ketamine?
I don't think so. I don't remember even what he looked like or anything. This is several years ago, but no, I don't think so.
How'd the tattoo come out?
It's great.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. What was the tattoo again?
It was like it wasn't even anything like super complex. It was like a Tetris block or something. It was just straight lines and like a little bit of color. It was so stupid. And this guy, man, you want to talk about like the mob? This guy had dragon tattoos all on his back, and this guy was like, it was like, whoa, we should probably leave here. Yeah, it was scary as shit. Anyways, with that said, glad you got a tattoo and glad you're okay.
Well, thank you.
Raging Wolf came in with the $4.99, says, let's all puke over our first trans clone trooper. Rip Star Wars. Disney keeps rooting you with virtue signaling slop. Real fans are done with you. Well, we're going to get to that in a little bit. Like I said, you can be whoever you want to be, as long as it's not shoved into our games and stuff. That's fine. RL Dog, great to see you. Says, Craig, have you seen the Wendy's rapping training video from the 90s? No, I have not,
No.
RL Dog. But I feel like it's something that you should tweet at me so I can check it out. That'd be great. Jake says, hail Craig, hail Steph, and hail Warren. Have a great day today. Thanks so much for your 9 months, Jake. Appreciate that, man. Victor says, I prefer more critical thinking, less critical theory. There you go, Victor. Welcome to the Normal Men Club. Worthy One says, to add to the DC comment from the other day, who's your favorite DC character, Steph?
Well, my top 3 are Jason Todd, Batman, and Joker.
All right. Who's Jason Todd? Should I know who that is?
That is Red Hood.
That's who?
Red Hood. He's one of the Robins.
Okay, so Red Hood, like that's like, I know the mainline characters and that's it. So like Red Hood is like, okay, that must be like a B tier or C tier character.
No, he's one of the Robins. So he's one of Batman's Robins. I mean,
right,
I guess.
right. I mean, I know Robin, right? I know,
so,
yeah. But okay, I just didn't know there were so many different Robins. I thought there was only one. I thought it was this, what's his name?
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. Yeah, I thought there was one. There's not.
Nope. There's several.
Okay. Fuck me. I don't know. I don't know anything. I am not a comic book guy. Never have been. I don't pretend to be. So, Ruddy came and says, why? Savvy and Arch were talking about a hand badge. Oh, why was the show demonetized? Yes, we're talking about the hand OC yesterday.
The hand OC.
That's
that
right.
was an interesting conversation.
That's welcome to Side Scroller, Steph. Steven also came in as a member for 6 months. Says, on the subject of tattoos, shout out to Drunk 3PO and X-Wing for the Daughter's Revenge 2025 and Tattoo Crew on number 3 on the Vindicta tattoo. Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
What's also cool is Larry J coming in with a $50 super chat. Steph, go ahead and read that off while I put Larry on the wall, please.
All right. I was talking to someone about Remedy games. I really love Control and thought Saga was a better protagonist. I asked why. She's poorly written, makes dumb decisions, and isn't interesting. He called me a bigot. How did we get to this point?
Larry, thank you so much for your support. You know what doesn't make you a bigot? That. Congratulations, Larry. Thank you for your support. We greatly appreciate that immensely. How do we get to this point? That's a great question. Warren, how do we get to the point to where when Larry says he didn't necessarily like the character because she's poorly written and makes dumb decisions, you get called a bigot? How did we get here, Larry, Warren?
Jeez, that's the $1 million question. I don't know, because it's so irrational. I don't think there is an explanation for it.
Well, speaking of irrational, we're going to get into some Alyssa Mercante this afternoon, which will be great. So listen, probably the most irrational, crazy person I've ever seen in the video game industry. And that's saying a lot. So Larry, thank you very much for your support. We're going to talk irrationality a little bit later on. Also, Sigrun came in and says, look up Wendy's grill skills and hot drinks. They're magical training videos. Let's go. I think I have actually seen that one. I watch a lot of random shit on the internet. Great. And Girthbound came into the tent, says, some normal, innocent support for some normal, innocent men. Warren, thank you for everything you're doing and talking about. But you're the last person I would have expected to have a badass tattoo. Next, I'll find out Jordan Peterson has a Yakuza back tattoo.
Why? I would be, yeah. You might be surprised, guys.
Oh man, that'd be what's the craziest tattoo that you'd want to get, or like if you know it wasn't permanent.
Oh. Well, the like from Boondock Saints. Have you seen Boondock Saints?
Yeah.
The Irish guys.
Yeah.
In Boston. Yeah.
The ones that they have on their hands.
Yeah, the Veritas and the Latin. Yeah, those are cool.
The only tattoo I think I ever would have gotten would have been, you know how parents, you know, they line their kids up on the wall and they mark their heights as they get taller, right? I thought that'd be cool to do with your kids. So they, as you do a markup up the side of your body every year. I thought that'd be, I've never seen that before, but I thought about it way too late. Like all my kids were super big by the time I thought of it. So I was like,
good idea.
So anyways,
that is a good idea.
if anybody wants to, yeah, I mean, you can't, you know, you can move houses, can't move bodies. So
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just something to think about. Also, Delta came in with the 5, says, hey there, work has Wi-Fi again after 3 days of trying to get Spectrum to get us a second hardline and screwing it up. So I get to catch you and live again this week. Amazing, Delta. Let's go with that. Thank you guys very much for your support to start the day. Alectron over on Rumble says, hey, Craig, just wanted to say the 95% of gamers don't want DEI poll. According to their LinkedIn poll, 70% of devs don't like it either. Are we tired of winning yet? Well, we're not winning. If 70% of the people don't want it and they're still getting overruled. So I don't think anybody's really winning at this point. So it is important to continue to call out the nonsense. With that said, we have a lot of nonsense to talk about today. We appreciate you guys popping in. And once again, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up button as let's get to our goal of 1,000 likes every single episode. But now it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It is time for Hard News. Hard News. Warren, have you watched any of Velma? Did you see Velma, the Scooby-Doo spinoff?
No, I didn't know that was even a thing.
Oh, it very much was a thing. Well, it was,
cartoon.
but yeah, not anymore, as Velma has been canceled after 2 seasons. Right. People were. This is one of those very polarizing modern day pieces of media where they took something from that was classic and the idea of Scooby-Doo and they turned it into everything, quote unquote, for the modern audience, if you will. And it was, I think the first season widely was considered hate watched by a lot of people. And then the second season reached the point of, what's the word, of just total indifference, I guess, apathy, I guess the right way to say it.
It's like Rings of Power.
Right. Now, Steph, did you watch any of Velma at all?
I only watched it through Disbrew's reviews. I didn't actually watch the show. That's how I watched it. Yeah. But it was awful.
So
they were like contractually obligated to do 2 seasons, and then they recently just did like their Halloween special. And then after that, I can't remember who came out and said that no, we're not doing a 3rd season. So the only reason it got a 2nd season was because they were contractually obligated to do that. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it did very well across the board.
No.
I think the first season, I think the person who made the most money is probably Disbrew from watching and doing his reviews about that, which is something that we're seeing more and more often, is people on YouTube who are watching and talking about the content is making more money than the people who have actually made the content to begin with. So, but rest in peace, Velma. You won't be missed.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Warren, do you have any Scooby-Doo memories?
Scooby memories? Just seeing it on television, back when I was a kid. Basic Scooby memories. I mean, yeah.
Steph?
Crazy.
Scooby-Doo. Sorry, Velma has a 7% audience score, season 1, on Rotten Tomatoes.
Why would they choose Velma? That's like the lamest character in the whole thing.
That was the character that Mindy Keeling, is that how you say her name? Mindy Keeling. She wanted to do a show, like a self-insert show, and so she chose Velma. Yeah.
Right. And to further this a little bit further, right now on IMDb it has a 1.6 out of 10, and a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes as a group here. So it got 2 seasons. Yeah, Mindy Kaling. Where's she at over here? She's done. Well, whatever. So yeah, it was kind of like a self-insert show, and obviously people have had enough of Mindy Kaling. She's been rejected by the audience. So
season 2 has a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the Halloween special is not even rated.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, something that also wasn't a tremendous success was the sequel to the Joker movie. I'm just calling it Joker 2 because I don't speak French. Warren, have you heard about this movie at all? The Joker
I
sequel?
saw some reviews about it. Yeah. I have heard not very good things, which is a shame.
Well, there's been a lot of back and forth about this movie. The idea of the director Todd Phillips. Apparently there was a lot of turmoil behind it, but the studio spent $200 million on it, and there was a really interesting article that was released from Variety about this. And it's inside the Joker 2 debacle. Todd Phillips wanted nothing to do with DC on the $200 million misfire. Now, we could read this entire thing, but we're not, because our friends over at Geeks and Gamers have summarized it very easily in this wonderful tweet. It says, insider information reveals what led to Joker 2's disastrous opening. It only made $40 million the first weekend. Now, it was number 1, but it wasn't really going up against anything, and it's going to see a tremendous drop-off. So, pointing the finger at Todd Phillips, his refusal to work closely with Warner Brothers in DC, retained nearly absolute control over the movie, refused to film in London for a 20% cost reduction in favor of LA, ignored notes from DC studio heads James Gunn and Peter Safran, refused to screen test Joker 2, and pushed to debut the film at the Venice Film Festival at the studio's plans. So apparently Todd Phillips, I don't know enough about this guy, but just based off of this, this article here, he seems like it's a tough dude to work with, or he had his vision for it.
That he kind of blew up after that first Joker, and this happens when a director gets that much buzz and so much power. they become a bit of a prima donna, and it can cause your downfall. I don't know how much of that story is actually true, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But assuming that is true, then geez, that's huge. Like blowing off 20% of your budget to film in LA rather than London, and things like that are just it just tanks. It just tanks it.
Okay, so I knew his name was familiar, and when you look at his filmography back in the day, he actually did a lot of comedies.
Yes.
He did Road Trip back in the day. He did Old School,
Mhm.
Starsky
He's known
and
for the
Hutch,
Hangover movies.
the Hangover movies. Yep. So he's had his hits, and obviously he's had some misses along the way. But Old School is a classic. The first Hangover is a classic for sure. Worked on Starsky and Hutch, which isn't thought of as like a great movie, but it's like a fun little popcorn flick with Ben Stiller and the other guy. So and then he like went into this like with Joker, was like this serious drama along the way. So I don't know. He's been doing this for 24 years now, so he's definitely been. It's funny. It's funny because he has some acting credits as well. I'm going to keep going on this right here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was the foot lover in Road Trip. He was the gangbang guy in Old School. Anybody here from the gangbang? Remember that at the very beginning of the movie?
No.
Apparently he likes to play the creeper in a lot of these movies.
He's an odd guy.
Apparently. When you're talking about self-inserts, when you insert yourself as the foot lover or the gangbang guy, I just possibly something there. Who knows? But either way,
really creepy.
Yes,
I think his head just got really big, and he's like, "I'm going to deliver another $1 billion film for you. Just let me do what I'm going to do." And I think that Warner Brothers is so desperate for a hit because they're so deep in debt that they really thought like, okay, yes, you do what you need to do, get this movie done. We need another, huge hit, and it just completely imploded. And sometimes you need to rein in the directors. You can't just let them do what they're going to do, because like I think the original projection for Joker 2 was expected in the first weekend was expected to do 70 million, and then with all of the bad press that it was getting, they lowered them to 45 to 47 million on the first weekend, and then it came in below that at 37.4 or 8 or something like that. So it was really like shocking for a lot of people to see how poorly this film did. And I think the cope around this film is that audiences are rejecting it because they just don't understand Todd Phillips's
genius
mastery. They just don't understand it. They don't understand it, so they're rejecting it. And it's like, no, we're not rejecting it. You did something shitty to a character that a lot of people liked. And, the same people realize that he's not supposed to be seen as a hero because he is the Joker. But it was still a character in a movie that a lot of people liked, and you destroyed it in the second film. So yeah, I think a lot of the cope around this movie is that you just don't understand Todd Phillips' genius. But that's just cope. He just made a really bad film.
Yeah, it's amazing that he skipped the preview screenings or the test screenings. I'm surprised the studio did that.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. It was also said that like during the release weekend, he secluded himself at a ranch.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It sounds like the director in Entourage. He looks like the director in Entourage. Like the really, I don't know if anyone's seen that, but in the audience, they'll know what I'm talking about. The real eccentric prima donna director. He's like a tattoo on his back of his movie. He's directing the Medellin. Like rides a motorcycle with his shirt off and like secludes himself just like that. And he even looks just like him.
Man, that was a great movie. That was a great show, that Entourage back in the day on HBO. Oh man, they had some good hits. Yeah. All right, well, rest in peace, Todd Phillips, in your career for tanking Joker 2 along the way. Matthew,
really quick. I'm sorry, really quickly. I just saw this article from Variety, and it says that ticket sales for the Joker sequel are projected to drop by at least 60 to 65% in its second week. So they're going to lose so much money with that movie.
Yeah, for sure. Let's make it a musical. Everybody loves musicals in 2024. That's great. That end in a scene of grape, by the way. just to point that's how apparently that's how it ends. and he gets shanked. Sorry, spoilers. Matthew says, did you guys see the Roblox lawsuit? Not the lawsuit, but I did see some of the stuff from it. I've been kind of looking at more information about that, and maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow with Vera Dark. Joey came in and says, hey, Craig, I recommend you watch the animated movie Batman Under the Red Hood. It explains who Jason Todd is. Plus, it's a great movie.
That is a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. Yeah.
Cool. Check it out. Inabutin says, Velma learns the truth. Could have saved it. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Suna Soul Silver says, the director has the I'm done with life vibe. And Winterfell says, comedy director who wants to be taken as a serious filmmaker, stick with what you do best. Yeah, that's right. You see that all the time. I want to be taken seriously along the way. But alas, you don't. Speaking of people wanting to be taken seriously along the way, let's talk about Deadspin for a minute. Are you familiar with the article or with the outlet Deadspin.com?
No.
Okay. Deadspin is a sports magazine article, like it's like a sports website, right? But it's all racy and raunchy, and it had its day back in the day. Now let's actually talk about this kid. Do you remember this kid here who went to a Kansas City Chiefs game in a full headdress with half his face red, half his face black to root on his favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs?
Mm-hmm.
This was big news. Why would this kid make big news? Well, let me tell you, because during the broadcast, there was a shot of him like this, and Deadspin took that freeze frame, ran with it, and says the NFL needs to speak out against Kansas City Chiefs fan in blackface, native headdress. They're doubling up the racism. Are you going to say anything, Roger Goodell? Now, this was the article that was posted. And the good news about this is that Deadspin has lost a bid to toss the defamation suit over the article that accused the young Chiefs fan of racism. So they said, hey, so they ended up getting sued over this.
Yeah.
And the guy who posted this article over here tried to justify it. It says, for the idiots in my mentions who are treating this as some harmless act because the other side of his face was painted red, I can make the argument it makes it even worse. Y'all are the ones who hate Mexicans but wear sombreros on Cinco. Jesus Christ.
What's funny is that kid is half Native American.
Well, yes, correct.
Oh, is he? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and the headdress is actually part of his heritage, which is great. So, but on Monday, Superior Court Judge Sean Lugg denied Deadspin's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, rejecting arguments that the article was opinion and thus protected from liability for defamation. So Deadspin's like, no. We were just having an opinion about this. And it's like, okay. Deadspin published an image of a child displaying his passionate fandom as a backdrop for his critique on the NFL's diversity efforts. And in the description of the child, cross the fine line protecting its speech from defamation claims, the judge wrote. Having reviewed the complaint, the court concludes that Deadspin's statements accuses H.A., the kid, of wearing blackface and native headdresses, quote, to hate black people and the Native American at the same time. That's fucked up, man. and that he was taught this hatred by his parents are provably false assertions of fact and are therefore actionable. You know what's crazy about this? This kid may own Deadspin by the time this whole suit is done.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Warren, what's your general thoughts on this? Is this a good step in the right direction?
I can't believe they would run that story. I do have thoughts that sometimes lawsuits are handed out or people are sued too often in our country, but there are definitely times when it is warranted. And I definitely think that kid has a very strong suit here. His parents, it seems. Like, I can't imagine, like, if your kid was dragged through the mud like that, and it's a kid too. It's just, seems like they have clear grounds to me.
Wow. I hope that's the case. I legitimately hope that little boy ends up owning Deadspin or taking all the money, so then he can own a portion of the Kansas City Chiefs, and you use Deadspin's money to buy a fraction of a percent of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I mean, it's just crazy because that you have to be able to really prove damages with something like that. If you can prove damages, is my understanding, then that makes all the difference. And when you are putting a kid's face all over the internet, like that follows him, right? So that it seems like they have a clear basis for damages. So,
Well, we'll see what happens. Steph, you got anything to finish that up?
I remember when this story was put out there, a lot of people, myself included, tweeted about this in support of this kid, because it was a clear misrepresentation by the journalist who put this out there, of like what the backstory behind this was. They were saying that this kid was wearing blackface. He was taught this by his parents. Oh my gosh, it's so disgraceful, disrespectful. There's still racism here in the United States, and it's apparent here at the football game. And it was so dishonest, and just so scummy and slimy that this journalist would take this photo of this kid and run with it with this article, that there were so many people that came out in support of this little boy. Like right away, they put out that photo of him, with both sides of his face painted. And we're saying that, it's a tradition at these games, fans can paint their faces because they support the team. And there was so much footage out there to support this kid and completely just show how slimy this journalist was in his portrayal of this kid, because like there was even like a couple of Chiefs football players who went and fist bumped this kid because he was there in support of his team. And then later on, the mom had to finally come out because she was getting phone calls and harassment and stuff like that, and she had to come out and say and defend her child. And then the dad too, and she was like, hey, look, his father is Native American. It's not a cultural appropriation. This is his culture. And the reason behind it is because you saw a white child doing this, and you decided to make, without doing any type of research into it, decided to make a quick assumption and write a whole article about it. So, I mean, there were so many people, and I'm so glad that so many people came out in defense of this young child, because it's just so slimy that this journalist, took this photo and just ran with it as this child is being taught racism by his parents. It's so slimy, and I'm glad that so many people came out for him. So
Well, I'll tell you
I'm
what.
glad he's winning. I'm glad he's winning. Good. Let this be a lesson. I mean, you do your research. Like it's so crazy. All of these photos were out there. They were all public to show that he had two sides of his face painted, and he still went with this kid is a racist and he's doing blackface. Like it's so ridiculous.
I think that's the most interesting thing about this is people like, oh, journalism is dead. It's like, it's not just in the video game space. It's in sports. It's in every type of journalism, right? They're extremely lazy. And think about like this guy, you can have retractions. Oh, we're sorry. We said this, blah, 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 blah. But at a certain point, the damage is done. And I have news for the guy, the writer of that article.
You are racist.
He's racist. There it is. And sorry, that's what Dustborn has to say to you. So some awesome support here. Look at this. I'll get to Raging Rhino in a second, but first Mercenary says Yellow Paper pushes attack on children. You don't hate Yellow Paper's pushers enough. These people are projecting their minds on the rest of us. Thank you, Mercenary. Appreciate that. Matthew says the article and animus behind it is a blatant attempt to bully the Chiefs into changing their name like the Redskins or the Cleveland Indians. Right. Which, by the way, hopefully the Redskins are put back in. Apparently the guy who provided the likeness to the original Redskins name was like, yo, like his family's like, yo, we want it to be called the Redskins, and we want you to use our father or grandfather's likeness or whatever it is. So
do they get royalties for
Radical
that?
Drago. I don't know how that works, but they're no longer the Redskins. They're now the Washington Commanders because hey, that's very white. Radical Drago says, I would say that they are the racist for even thinking that was blackface in the first place. That's right. Or just perpetual victims along the way. Uriah says, great for the kid. Great for the kid. Reminds me of Nick Sandman. Thank you, Uriah. Appreciate that. And John says, Velma season 2 did have a great ending, though. Velma dies. Oh, interesting.
No, she got brought back to life, unfortunately, in the Halloween special. So,
Say,
they brought her back.
John, you're the one who watched it along the way. You're the one who saw it. So, and Kratos came in with the $20 direct donation. Says, one thing I'm looking forward to with the AI tools is the ability for people to self-insert into any media they want. That will destroy the artificial demand for, quote, representation movies, representative movies. Want to see Shaq play Shaggy? Okay. Chris Farley as the Terminator? Go for it. Hey, thanks, Kratos. Appreciate that. That's awesome. And Com says, reminds me of the kid getting yelled at by the Native American guy. I think CNN went after him and he got a cool payday. Yeah. And DeBrew that do came and says, you just referred to Owen Wilson as the other guy. Jesus, Craig. Sorry, I couldn't think of Owen Wilson's name at the time when I was talking about Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And we got a little breaking news from Raging Rhino. Rhino, great to see you. Came up with $7.99. Says, Stephen Craig, check DMs. Apparently, Lieutenant Dan got offered a kick contract. Okay. Yep. Hey, guess what? We got ourselves a little breaking news. Always an excuse to use the sounder right there, which is good. So what do we have here?
Lieutenant Dan survived Hurricane Milton in his 20-foot boat after refusing to evacuate. Now he's been offered a $2 million kick deal and a $100,000 boat.
What?
What?
Why?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have this pulled up as well.
This is from 2 hours ago.
Right.
Oh my
This can't be real. And if you scroll down here, this is the first thing you see.
Yeah.
He's a PDF fraud right here. So this sure doesn't look very good for this guy. You know, it's an interesting story. This guy there, that's him, I guess. Sure looks like him every time, doesn't it? I'm just saying, that looks like the same guy. Been locked up many times along the way. So yeah, okay. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, it actually says, bro, he tried to set a woman on fire, and I thought Aiden rescinded the offer immediately when chat informed him. Is Aiden Ross the guy who's handing out $2 million deals on Kick? Is he like part owner of that company or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, good for him. Getting a $2 million Kick offer. I would like to think that Kick should probably do a little more research on who they're going to get in bed with, especially for $2 million.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, thanks, Rhino. Appreciate you. You're helping us out there and bringing the show down a little bit. Everyone, go check out Raging Rhino, obviously over on X and over on YouTube as well, for sure.
I get excited when I'm building my Legos on Kick and like I'll get put on the front page. I'll get excited about that. Can you imagine how many Legos I could buy with $2 million? Oh my gosh.
You could buy a lot of Legos.
I could buy a lot. I could buy all the Legos I want. Every single new release.
All right. You could also buy a lot of Star Wars if you had $2 million, which is going to allow us to transition to this new story. Speaking of transition, hey, let's go to our next story here. The Secrets of the Clone Troopers includes a first look at Sister, a trans woman clone trooper. Rex's description of Sister, okay, we'll get to this in a second. When one of our kind expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, she featured she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. Fortunately, her brothers in the 7th Sky Corps gave her the name Sister as a constant reminder that she belonged. And of course, you got to put the colors on there and everything. So here we are, Steph, Warren. We're now getting trans stormtroopers.
I've never seen a stormtrooper. I thought they kept their helmets on, so I don't know how we're suddenly making shows about. I guess you could do that, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Steph, you got any thoughts on the transgender? Do they really think this is gonna like sell more copies? Like, is this gonna sell more copies or something? I mean, sorry, Steph, fire away.
Yeah, I think I'm with a lot of people when that I saw in the replies, right? This is supposed to be a galaxy far, far away. They're, way beyond gender and, sexuality. That this is supposed to be beyond that. This story of heroes and villains, and to put modern day things like that into Star Wars, it takes you out of Star Wars. It's not escapism anymore. Because these are things that, people hold, these are ideals, things that people hold close to them now. This is current now. And especially like with the trans flag and things like that, all of these new flags that they just keep sort of changing. So who knows if it's going to be that same flag? It dates it. And it really does pull you out because it's like, oh, that reminds me of things that are going on right now in current day.
Is there a trans flag in the game?
It's on her uniform. She's painted it on her. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
There it is. Yes. There you go.
Wow.
As Rhino says, in the Star Wars for a long time, this is just another nail in the coffin.
Mhm.
I don't understand. Like, once again, this has to be a marketing thing, right? Is it just get people talking about it, or is this like what are we doing here? I don't.
I think they genuine. Oh, sorry.
So what's interesting is like she's going to appear in. I think it's in a book. I had to pull up the Daily Mail article because I needed to know where the character was appearing in, and it's a book. It's in a book that's intended as an illustrated encyclopedia for children. And is written from the perspective of another Star Wars character, which is Captain Rex from the Disney Plus animation, The Bad Batch. And then you read his description of her previously. But it's interesting that it's intended for children. There you go.
Do you remember when Bob Iger was like, "We're going to get out of the culture war"? Disney CEO. I don't know.
Star Wars didn't get the message.
It reminds me of like what you were saying about it breaking the immersion. It's the same thing that happened, I think, with Rings of Power. Now that we've had the conclusion with that, it's like, but yeah, you just want this distance, and it's, I don't know. I do think it's the death of these things, and to me, I see these similarities heavily between Star Wars and Amazon Prime and what they're doing. It's just like, how could you possibly think that's a good idea? But I don't. Yeah.
Well, it's not a good idea. It's never a good idea to focus on those types of things in your IPs.
I know. I think I'm on
it. Yeah, he's on a delay. Uh-oh, here it comes. Is he going to come back in? Craig's on a delay.
Sorry. Hopefully I'll catch up here pretty quick.
Okay.
But I want to point out that Ultra V came in with the 10, says, "I'm not a stormtrooper. It's a clone trooper."
Yes,
as in a clone of Jango Fett. Also, it won't surprise you to hear that the person who wrote the story used to write fan fiction. There you go. So it's a clone of somebody who was.
Yeah, she appeared as like fan art in a piece of fan art, and now she's there.
Okay, well, at least you're using the proper pronouns there, Steph, which is good.
I don't want you to get limited again. No.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I think I saw one comment under that initial post, Star Wars Holocron. I think it was the one who posted it, and they said that like if this was an actual clone trooper, then this clone trooper would be defective. And, you know, what happens to defective things
Right.
would
Tossed,
be
maybe,
eliminated. So, like, it's
maybe
very
tossed
interesting.
off a roof. I don't know. It's crazy how that works. But if you're in the wrong country, you get tossed off a roof. But whatever. That's insane. Leighton came in and says because people want to see themselves in soldiers who are literally cultivated to be expendable and thrown into the meat grinder that is war. Utter brilliance. Oh my God. Reddy says she looks like the Rock and Scorpion King.
Oh my God.
It's fucked up. Wolfsbane says I write fan fiction and I can write better than this. There you go.
But you'd probably respect the lore.
Right.
These are different kinds of fan fiction artists who their main things in their fan fiction is, gender, sexuality, and, shipping people together who wouldn't normally be shipped in the regular media, the regular normal IP.
Right. God damn it, I want a name came in with a $25 direct donation. Says, why is there a transgender soldier? Why is there a transgender soldier that is beloved by her comrades in arms in the Galactic Empire? Why are they portraying the Third Reich stand-in as inclusive and tolerant? Is this a mask-off moment, a Freudian slip? Am I the crazy one here?
It's a good point.
That's interesting. So the Empire is supposed to be the Nazis, huh? Wow, that's crazy. Thank you. God damn it, I want a name. Appreciate that. And Delta came in and says, as long as Disney is aware of what they set up with a male to female clone trooper, quote, is the clone doing a Bruce Jenner, male before the order, female after all the Jedi were gone? Thank you, Delta. And Jason says, so BTCST. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Anybody idea? Jason, sorry I butchered that. Well, thank you for your support. All right. Well, let's move on to this other little story here. Let's get to that in just a second. But first, John came in and says the kids and parents will gawker them. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Gawker was the Hulk Hogan thing that Hogan sued and he won a bunch of money from. And Mercenary says, I'm still dealing with the guy that attacked and damaged my car over an American flag and Bible sticker. People are nuts, man.
What the heck?
Yeah. Mercenary, sorry you're dealing with that nonsense. Joey says Star Wars needs to be acquired by someone who is a true fan and reboot the entire franchise, except for the original and prequel trilogies, and maybe Rogue One. Otherwise, it's dead. Could you imagine if Elon Musk went in and just purchased Disney as a company?
I mean, he has been commenting on some Star Wars posts. He did acknowledge how terrible the Acolyte was. So,
wow.
As soon as he started doing that, people were like, oh my gosh, please buy Star Wars.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, my internet apparently is all sorts of jacked up. I even did resets of everything today, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. So let's move on to our next story here. And this one is interesting. And Warren, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this because my boy Endymion has been producing some banger videos lately. And I've done a couple videos on them. If you guys don't follow Endymion, he does some great work. We've talked about Ubisoft at length on this channel, just like most people who talk online have in the gaming space. Ubisoft is a dumpster fire. And Endymion has been talking to several people inside of Ubisoft to get kind of the pulse of the company and talking about the various different things that have been happening and why they've been happening, why the company has fallen off a cliff, the potential acquisition by the Chinese company Tencent, the idea that Tencent could have purchased equity in the company only to destroy the company and then buy it at a lower valuation. I mean, this is like some straight corporate espionage shit, man. It's next level. But in his latest video that he posted yesterday, he talks about this insider talks about a couple different things in particular. The first one I want to play is, and I know this is something that's going to be very near and dear to you, Warren, is the idea of the mood of the people inside the company and their ability to talk about some of the changes that have been made. So I wanted to play this for you and get your thoughts on this, Warren. Here we go.
Hands. They did tell me that because of how corporate structure is by design, especially at places like Ubisoft, that speaking out against anything that is considered political or activism-like can and will lead to you getting fired and likely blacklisted as well. They say that there's a very bad case of tone-deaf leadership that has completely disconnected itself from the wants and needs of players across the industry.
We'll just we'll stop there. The idea that you are no longer allowed to go against the narrative, and if you are, you're out. Sounds familiar, huh?
Yeah, it's the school where I was teaching had the exact same policy, and it was written in the handbook that we have to sign. And it says if you say something, even political, that the person, this director, just finds or deems appropriate to fire you, they have the right to fire you. And we all sign that. So how do we balance the free marketplace where under capitalism, like you shouldn't be forced to pay someone you don't want to pay, yet so do you have the right to, the question is, do you have the right to come up with crazy rules, essentially, to say I can fire someone for any reason I want to? Yes, it's stupid, it's silly. If you wear purple to work, I have the right to fire you. Do you sign the document and take the job? Okay, well, now if you wear purple, so how do we balance that? There was a larger point there, though, that goes beyond that, but it'll come to me in a moment. But yeah, it's a scary thing, but it is a reality. Oh, the blacklisting. But that's taking it a step further, because you're now going beyond just that singular like workplace, the purple clothing. It's now you can't get a job in this industry. That's crossing a whole nother line, in my view. But,
right. Well, yeah, and you're not only going to not work for Ubisoft, but you're not going to work anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. The idea of being blacklisted across the industry because you went against the good word, you went against the narrative, the narrative that we want to push. And like, look, I guess I've been doing this for a long time. It's never, ever, ever been like this. And it goes back to you let one crazy end. This is, people talk about like gatekeeping and why gatekeeping is so important. This is why gatekeeping is so important, because as soon as you let one in, they let their friend in, and then they let their friend in. And all of a sudden that one person becomes a total group of people. And then you have crazy ass rules. Like if you go against what we're talking about, you can no longer work here and you can no longer work in the industry that you love. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. And that's why, instead of hiring based off of check marks, you hire based off of their ability. And that seems like such a foreign concept in the video game space in general. Steph, you got any thoughts on this about Ubisoft, just hearing that first thought?
I mean, lately it's not about, it's all about equity, isn't it? That's it. You're not hired based off of your skills anymore. It's all check boxes nowadays. And yes, Warren is completely right. Like the more of these people you come into your company, they push out all of the other ones. Because I feel like the types of people that are hired based off of, check boxes and the activists that come into the company, they're a lot louder than the ones that are there to actually like do a job. They really don't care about the job. They care about the activism behind it. And how they can use the job, as opposed to I just want to go and work and because I like what I do. They just want to they want to use the job for something else, as opposed to going in there and doing the job for the customer, for the people that are going to be purchasing whatever you're putting out. And they tend to be a lot louder and a lot more complainy. And nowadays, with like job turnover, I guess companies can't really afford to be, losing all these people. So they have, I saw this like years ago too, like where companies have begun to like cater to the younger generations in order to keep them happy at the company so they don't leave.
Right.
But in this case, I think that you should just like fire these types of people because they're just not helping. They're not
Right.
helping your company in any way.
Right. Well, speaking of people not helping companies, this insider also talked about Sweet Baby Inc. and consultancy firms like Sweet Baby Inc. And this has been an ongoing discussion over the past, really this entire year. I think it started back in February or March, where Sweet Baby Inc. really kind of came on the radar and introduced everybody to what is happening in the video game industry, the sheer activism associated with this. Now, Warren, we've talked about Sweet Baby Inc. You're familiar with Sweet Baby Inc., yes?
Just remind me real quick who they were.
So Sweet Baby Inc. is a consultancy firm, and their job is primarily they say they work on stories, they work on they consult on these various items of the games, but what they're most known for is injecting diversity, equity, and inclusion into the game. And this is what they do, and they've been contracted and. Pretty much, if you were to look at the games that they've worked on, every single one of those games has underperformed, like with T. Now they did help out with Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation, but it's Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation.
Yep,
that one was a success. But every other game that they've worked on has really fallen flat on its face. I think it's like 90-something% of the games they've worked on have underperformed. So,
was Spider-Man 2 also a success because it came with like it bundled?
I think
right?
Spider-Man 2 was a success because Spider-Man 1 was a success. Okay. And I think that it was just being the sequel there. So
I don't know. I don't know anything about video.
No. I think it's Spider-Man.
I had a question because when I got my PlayStation, it came with that Spider-Man game.
It came with mine too.
Right.
Yeah.
You got bundled up for sure. Well, let's go here and take a look at what this Ubisoft insider had to say specifically about Sweet Baby Inc. and these consultancy firms.
Yeah. I asked this insider source what they thought of Sweet Baby, and they told me that they see all of those consulting groups to be plagues in the industry. They said that good, honest devs are paying the price for the moronic decisions that are being made by consulting firms. This also ties into localization. I mean, I've played plenty of games that have sadly had poor localization at times.
He talks about the localization. I think that's an entirely different issue. But the idea of, and Steph, this goes to what you were saying, the idea of a vocal few are affecting of many people based off of their decisions and such and the things that they're saying. So, Warren, in your experience, when you were teaching and such, did you, I don't really know how consultancy firms would like what the correlation is to the teaching space. Do universities and such, they bring in consultancy firms and such?
At the college level for sure. We are starting to see them cut some of those programs, thank goodness, and out of necessity, because we're seeing budget crisis, even going down to the high school level. But yeah, there's tons of these consultants that they have entire offices at the college where I went and do some teaching. But yes, thank goodness they are starting to get cut. Like the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, the Social Justice Center is a separate office, even though they sound like they do the exact same thing. And they often bring in consultant speakers for special training. Constantly, I'm getting emails that go out to the entire school for staff, these crazy training sessions that whatever. But yeah, it's an industry.
Wow. What you said, there's a social justice center?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? What happens at that?
There's like, you can do anonymous reporting or non-anonymous reporting. I guess they constantly send out emails. What they do, I don't know, honestly. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I know that it started around like complaints in addressing. So like there was one time one of the biggest. Okay, they found like stickers that they claimed were anti-Chinese. People could Google this one. They claimed these stickers were anti-Chinese propaganda. When in reality, then they interviewed the students that actually were behind this, and it was just questioning something about, it was just speaking out the Chinese Communist Party. was criticizing the Chinese Communist Party. Anyway, so that was a case that this office took upon, this important case, and they launched their investigation. Beyond that, so that's the kind of thing that they deal with.
Well, Ubisoft is certainly dealing with that nonsense now, and this is an infection that has happened throughout the industry on all levels of the industry, and that's why we talk about it on a day-to-day basis. Warren, I know you mentioned you had an hour.
Yeah, I should probably run, but
okay, sounds good. Well, then we'll allow you to bounce because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of all this stuff with Alyssa Mercante. So maybe we can get you.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with you, man. I wanted to ask you about like election night, or what if you want to do anything for that. But we'll chat offline. It was very good to meet you, Steph. Have a good day, everyone.
For sure.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, Warren. Appreciate you, my man.
All right, bye.
For sure. We will put Warren's information all down in his channel information. He has over 100,000 subscribers over on YouTube. He's growing actively over on X. Great dude, very chill. His content is really articulate, and you can tell he's very meticulous in how he thinks about things. He's very philosopher along the way. All right,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too. Sometimes, we talk about, we talk quickly on the show. We talk about things and boom, 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 boom. But sometimes it's okay to take a breath and really think through things, which I think is a great segue to the person we're going to talk about next. But before we do, Wolfsbane came and says, well, the empire was inspired by Napoleon's empire. Okay, thanks, Wolfsbane. Appreciate that. And Darksith says, a trans stormtrooper makes sense. Used as disposable tools of an evil empire. A little too on the nose there, Disney. Thanks, Darksith. Appreciate that. Crazy times, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about this insanity that happened in the last 12 hours. If you've ever seen just an absolute destruction in the nicest way possible, this will be very familiar here. But I think it starts with this first. Now, this is how this whole thing started. And Steph, once again, have you followed this at all?
No.
Okay.
This is new. I didn't see this at all.
Okay, good. So if something happens here that doesn't make sense, just tell me to take a step back, okay? Because I feel like as I was watching it, it was like, wow, this is fascinating to watch, okay?
Okay.
It starts with a third party. This girl over here, her name is Quilang, okay? And she wrote this post saying, hey, new folks, I'm Ray. I work in the game industry in UX, R&D, and game production. I worked on various software and hardware for Xbox. I now work as an independent media producer and had the privilege of working on the Dota Internationals 2023 and other gaming media projects. And while that is what it is, she also included a picture of a game called Ori. Now, Ori is it's like a 2D side scroller. It's really, the art direction on it is really, really good. And it was received exceptionally well, right? So what happened after that was she posted that, and then the director of the game came in. You see below, he says, well, I'm the director of both Ori games, and I don't know who you are and how you're affiliated with Ori. So he's like, okay, I'm sorry, I know pretty much everybody. Who are you, and how would I know who you are along the way? And it seems like a pretty logical thing. And she responded, once again, by the way, she has since gotten privated through here.
Of course.
So I'm using screenshots here along the way. She says, yep, I worked with Xbox User Research and Deborah Henderson along the way. Now, on the surface, they're just having like a little conversation. Okay, so Thomas, the director of Ori, comes in and says, oh, well, okay, that could explain it. I didn't want to cause you any trouble. I just saw you posting that you worked on Ori, and I had no idea who you were. Since you're calling people names online, I thought it was important to inform people that you never actually worked for Moon and that you didn't ever directly engage with anybody at Moon. Always be nice to people, Ray, even those you disagree with. Now, he's actually referencing a conversation that this person had, and where she went out and did the typical thing of yelling at people who she disagreed with. And so he's in the nicest way possible, going in and just being like, yo, listen, how about you just be nice here? And I don't know who you are, but it is what it is. Now is where things get fun. The name Alyssa Mercante pops in. Now, Alyssa Mercante, she is a blogger for Kotaku. I hate to use the phrase journalist because she's not.
I think that's the perfect description.
Yeah, I don't think journalist is the right word to use. No journalism degree, no journalism used, and that will actually be pushed to the forefront here along the way. So she came in immediately after that and said this simply: you're a dickhead. That was her response to this guy for having this nice, calm reaction. And he responded with, I don't know who you are. Right? Just more or less, I have no idea who the hell you are or why you feel that I'm a dickhead along the way.
Yeah.
But it goes back to, apparently she wrote a hit piece about Ori and Moon Studios a couple of years ago. And in that, she said in response to, I don't know who you are, maybe you forgot. Like she's living rent free in this guy's head along the way, right? And in this article, she says, Mailer sometimes argued with the veterans that he brought in, and he changed his mind about the decisions they made and would overrule them. Mailer would also forget about agreements and then argue for the opposite to happen. And that impacted the work of multiple people, multiple developers said. Now, she throws this out there like this is some sort of pipe bomb. Like this
that doesn't sound controversial at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It sounds like regular, like, especially keep in mind, he is the game director of this.
I was going to say he's the director. So things change along the way. It makes sense. It doesn't sound controversial. That's not an own.
Not in the latest, and that's the thing. You, Steph, are logical in that you're putting this out there and you're like, okay, yeah, it sounds like something that would happen along the way. And if you want to get in, you want to dissect this a little further. Once again, he would sometimes argue with the veterans that he brought in, and he changed his mind about the decisions they made and would overrule them. Well, that's kind of what the boss does.
Yeah.
You know,
he's the director.
He's the director of the game.
He has every right to overrule something.
Yes. So he responded to that. And this is just such a wonderful chef's kiss. And I want to read this to you in the best way possible. It says, hey, Alyssa, you're apparently a journalist from Kotaku, so I'm guessing you haven't worked in actual game development yet. Let me try to explain the thing that you posted about, which I'm guessing was from that hit piece from a few years back. Yes, I'm guilty of what's stated in that image. And that's okay, because that's the normal creative process. We brought lots of veterans into Moon because generally great people want to get the opportunity to work on great projects. And that's the goal at Moon. We always set out to create the kind of games we'd love to play ourselves that fill some hole in the market, because for some reason these holes haven't been filled yet. And so we're all incredibly passionate about what we do. With great talent comes lots of enthusiasm and passion, which absolutely leads to arguments, because ultimately everyone is working hard on getting their vision into the game. But also, everyone at Moon understands that we're working together as a team. So the point of these arguments is then to try to convince each other why this or that solution would be the best thing for the game we're making, and the best solution ought to win. Most of the time, the beauty behind these arguments is that everybody gets a chance to contribute. And more often than not, the actual solution will be one that ultimately everybody contributed to, because we're dealing with very complex issues all the time, and complex problems often need complex solutions. It is often a chaotic process, but it's controlled chaos. And yes, absolutely, every now and then I have to put my foot down and set the direction, because I'm the game director, and ultimately it's my responsibility to ensure that everyone knows where things are headed and that decisions get made. And yes, It also happens that I agree with a certain, and yes, it also happened that I agreed to a certain decision, play tested some more, and changed the direction after. Again, to me, this is normal. It's a normal part of the process. Since things get clearer and clearer, the more stuff gets implemented and the more we play and test. To me, this is just how creative work happens. It can be painful, but my job, like any good director, is to understand what's going on and make sure the right decisions get made, even if some work might get rendered useless in the process. See here, even Miyamoto is guilty of that. Now, Shigeru Miyamoto, obviously the mastermind behind all these amazing products and IPs at Disney. So he's throwing out, like, this is kind of the ace of spades here. He's throwing it out there. He's saying, like, hey, even the best of the best does this, right?
And Nintendo, not Disney, right?
Right. And this is Nintendo. Did I say Disney?
Yeah, you said Disney.
Oh, sorry. I meant Nintendo. Yes, Shigeru Miyamoto of Nintendo. Obviously, I don't know why I said Disney. A few years back, we hired some folks that didn't really fit our culture, so we had to part ways with them. And then this article happened. Wasn't a great feeling to see some ex-Moon folks talk badly behind our backs, but ultimately it just made it clear that these folks shouldn't have worked at Moon in the first place, and I hope they're happier now wherever they landed. I don't know why you're out here cursing out game developers and what your whole deal is, but I hope that that gave you some insight in the creative process and its messiness and beauty. I hope you have a nice day. Yours, Dickhead. So he handled this in like the most professional way you possibly can, right? And he laid it out there, and this wasn't good enough. Because keep in mind, this is a journalist. This is a video game journalist who their job is to research and know these things and reach out to developers. And if she was smart, she would then take this opportunity and bring it in and turn it into some sort of content for Kotaku. What I learned from my discussion with the Ori director, right? Or the ins and outs of game development, you don't know. Some sort of story that you could create out of this interaction, because I see this as a huge learning experience for her and really everybody reading that thread. But I feel like what he said was very much common sense. The idea that we're going to have meetings. Someone's idea is going to prevail in this meeting along the way. Is it going to be mine? Maybe. Is it going to be yours? Maybe. Do I, as the boss, have the opportunity to veto that? Because ultimately, the way that this game is played and the way this game is received is ultimately on it comes at my feet, right? I'm the one responsible for this. I am the director. So I have ultimate veto power when it comes to being the director of the entire game, regardless of who I bring in or whatever. And guess what? Sometimes that work will get left on the on the cutting room floor. We see that all the time in every industry where things get cut. But so he responded with in the nicest way possible, classy. And then we had the 180 degrees of that, which is Alyssa's response. Her response was this. Just a simple back. I ain't reading that. I'm happy for you, though. Man. Or sorry that happened.
So she pulled the TLDR. Too long, didn't read.
Right. Too long, didn't read. Didn't want to read.
No.
And
she has her own narrative, and she's sticking to that. She doesn't want to be proven false. And she doesn't want to, least of all, she doesn't want to be mansplained. And I think that that's what she took this as. She's probably being mansplained too. So she doesn't want to. No, not going to happen. I'm not reading that. Mm-mm.
Now, why did she respond this way? Well, she posted about that as well over on her X account, which, by the way, I'm now blocked on her X account.
I'm blocked as well. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm blocked in a second, but this is what she said. She said, this is because a man who allegedly fostered a sexist, oppressive workplace decided to wrongfully publicly accuse a woman of lying about her job history, which sent the army of chuds after her. And I called him a dickhead for it. He could have DM'd her. He knew what he was doing. A lot of assumptions there. Now, she called him a dickhead because she's making assumptions that once again, the studio director or the game director doesn't know who worked on his game, and that Mercante knows better than the director of the game that the original person said she worked on. Video game journalism here. That's what we're doing. Steph, I tried to collect my thoughts. I was actually going to do a standalone video on this earlier today. And when I saw this, I was just so, you know what how I wanted to respond? Let me tell you exactly how I wanted to respond. But I didn't do this because I'm a nice guy. The way I wanted to respond was, you're a cunt. That's what I wanted to say. But I didn't, because I took a second and I thought about what I wanted to say. But the reality is that this lady is the biggest, selfish, most narcissistic cunt on the internet. And I'm sorry, that's the reality of it.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, I don't think this is for everything that I've read about her, and this is new. I didn't know this happened last night. But for everything that I've read about her and all of the tweets that I've seen about her, and like Hypnotic has been doing so many streams, and I've seen a lot of his videos about Alyssa Mercante. And it seems like she's not a games journalist. She doesn't like gamers. She hates gamers. So why are you in that industry? She doesn't seem to like the industry that she's in, the job that she's in. Why are you there if you don't like gamers and you don't like game developers and you're not backing anybody? Who are you backing? Right? You're not doing the,
or who is backing you? That's the big, like, that's the thing is the reality is that she has no power, right? And Kotaku has no power in the industry anymore, right? The people who have power are shows like this. People that she's complaining about, she's lashing out against, are the people that she feels threatened by. Why? Because we have 4,000 people watching our show right now, right? That's why. Because she feels threatened because people, the normal man out there, sees through the veil of bullshit that they're throwing out at all times. And
any logical thinking person sees through the veil of bullshit.
And that's what we're dealing with here. And this is the issue, though, is that I've talked about the disconnect here, right? The disconnect between developers, the media, and the customer, right? And apparently we have a little boys club over here, or a girls club, or we just have a little club over here that the game developers and the media are a part of, right? And traditional YouTubers, people who talk about this stuff, they are not in that club. Right. But here's the problem is that our club's much fucking bigger, right, than their club. Right. And there's this idea. This goes back to what we talked about with Ubisoft here, is that there are, in fact, these activists that are intertwined with all this stuff. And Kotaku is such a shell of its former self. It's really just the name, and that's about it. You've seen its traffic drop dramatically. And I know they went in and they hired their new CEO. Or their new CEO about a month and a half ago, whatever it may be. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly they turn over to guides, because they will turn over to guides, because nobody reads their stuff because you have to have some sort of relationship with these people and with the people who are writing. And there's zero relationship. That, like, how is she even remotely likable or relatable to anybody?
Well, she's not. I feel like it's somebody like her is so frustrating, because you mentioned power, right? And they're really grasping at it because they're losing relevancy in today's day and age. The stuff that they want, the stuff that they're pushing for, people don't want it, right? Gamers will support good games, and the games that they support are really games that, I don't know, Sweet Baby Inc. are involved in. And so it's a grasp for power, and they know that they're losing relevancy. So a person like Alyssa Mercante is very frustrating, because on one end, it's like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you want to call them out for all of their bullshit and tomfoolery. And on the other hand, someone like her doesn't deserve any type of spotlight, good or bad. Someone like her really thrives on, and I feel like a lot of her pieces only garner a lot of views and clicks because, and it's so funny that she calls a lot of people grifters, but because, she thrives off of the drama, off of the controversy that she creates herself. She'll write these articles and she knows that they'll get hate clicks. She knows that they'll get hate views. She knows that, people will bring attention to it because it's clickbait. She's creating these stories for the drama. And that's a grifter, and she calls so many people grifters. It's like what you are doing right now, because you're losing so much relevancy and people don't like you. You are literally grifting because you're trying to, and you're clickbaiting because you're trying to get all of these people to read a really non-relevant article from a non-relevant news source anymore, because they're losing so much of their relevancy. So on one hand, it's like, how do we deal with this type of person? Well, we starve them of attention, because she loves it. She thrives on it. She loves, putting stuff out there on Twitter, like, oh, this person's talking about me again. Even Hypnotic has said, like, he knows that Alyssa Mercante watches his streams, or that people, close to her watch his streams, because she'll tweet about them. So she loves it. She thrives on, the attention. And in order to deal with that person, you have to starve them of attention and not bring any type of attention to them. Just starve them of it, and they'll eventually go away. So, but on the other hand, she deserves to be called out for behavior like this, because it's such nasty behavior.
Well,
why on earth would you do that?
Right. And here's the thing, right? The thing that I think bothers me the most about this is that if I am a journalist, right, go whatever platform you're on, right? If I'm at IGN, if I'm at Polygon, especially if I'm at Kotaku, don't you reach out to her and be like, yo, you're making us all look bad. Like, you are giving everybody a bad name by being the giant hose beast that you are. And I'm going to, she made a lot of assumptions here in this tweet. The idea that, this guy fostered a sexist, oppressive workplace and decided wrongfully, right? So I'm going to make some assumptions here. Somewhere along the line, she was hurt. She was hurt by somebody or something, right? And it damaged her in a major way. And that's why, like, look, I called her a cunt. I stand by that, right? I don't use that word very often at all, but that's the next level of narcissism and bitchiness here, right? I don't even know if I've ever said that word on the show before, but somebody hurt her. And for that, I actually have sympathy for her. Like, do I agree with her in any way, shape, or form? No, but I honestly feel sorry for her, because she is such a hurt individual, and she feels the need to take it out on everybody in this hobby that so many people love. And she feels the need to inject herself and inject her ideology, because somewhere along the way, somebody hurt her, whether it was her parents, whether it was her dad, whether it was a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Somebody hurt her to the point of irreparable damage. And now that's what you're seeing, is a broken person who just lashes out as a self-defense. Because at the end of the day, she's not confident in herself. And all this puffing out her chest, look at me, I'm so sexy, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, you're dealing with an insecure narcissist. And that's the worst kind.
Yeah. I don't feel sorry for her. I don't feel empathy for her. I feel like I should, but I don't, because a lot of the stuff, I feel like she has a lot of hatred in her heart. And, that's why she lashes out at people. The hatred within, comes out at the hatred outside, unfortunately. You have a lot of hate in your heart. You're ugly on the inside. You're ugly on the outside. And she brings a lot of it on herself. Whether she was hurt in the past, those are things that she needs to deal with herself. And if she's going to refuse to help herself, then I shouldn't care. If she's not going to do the work, I shouldn't care. I'm not going to feel sorry for her, because she lashes out at so many people, and she brings so much hate onto so many people. And and she writes hit pieces on so many people. And the reason that she's calling this man a misogynist and all that stuff is because she wrote that hit piece, and she's backing that hit piece. She still believes everything from this article that she wrote however many years ago. And so she's trying to bring more attention to that. That's why she pulled, oh, you forgot, I'm pulling this from, the piece I wrote about you, and putting that so that way people will see that, and it'll hopefully in her mind bring some hate to this person, to this director.
Right.
That those are her intentions. She has very bad intentions from the start. So I don't feel sorry for her at all. She's bringing it all on herself. If she's not going to help herself, then I shouldn't feel bad for her, because that's just what she wants to do. Those are her decisions as a grown adult. And if she's not going to take any steps to better herself or to improve herself, then, why should I feel sorry for her? I don't.
Siver says, no, Craig, don't turn her into a victim. She's no victim. She actually deserves accountability for actions. No, I agree. I'm big on accountability. And to be clear, I'm not making her a victim at all, right? She's taking those actions. She's the one who's portraying herself like this. And if that's how she wants to do it, that's fine. But once again, it goes back to insecure narcissism. That's the best way that I potentially
narcissists don't see themselves as wrong. They'll double down on everything. They don't see themselves in a bad light. They see anything that is anything that's wrong with it, or anything that you view as wrong with them. That's your problem. That's not their problem. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't see that there's anything wrong with her. If she is in fact a true narcissist, it's something wrong with you, not her.
Right. And and we're going to get to some other responses from some folks, including her nemesis online, Smash. Alyssa tweeted this out. It says, you can ooh all you want and just pointing things out or making people aware. But if every time you present someone to your audience to, quote, warn them, sharing pictures of that person and the social accounts, that person immediately gets flooded with harassment and their sensitive information leaked and shared, you know exactly what you're doing. Don't play dumb. It's not cute. And Smash just said, someone is transcendently mentioning me again. Please, Alyssa, for everyone's sake, find a fucking mirror. Right?
Yeah. She's accusing people of this stuff because this is the stuff that she participates in. She's done this before. So because she's a narcissist and she does these types of things, she assumes that other people do that as well. Because that is her reason for putting people's stuff out there. So, her minions and her following can go after this person and look into this person. That's her reasoning for doing a lot of this stuff. She's assuming that other people do that as well. And that's just not the case. The case is that this director saw this person, tweeting about the game that he worked on. And he's like, I am the director. Who are you? So it's a simple question. Who are you? So I know who I'm dealing with.
Here's the reality of this. Like, she has her minions and they're all members of the Access Media, right? Mm-hmm. And that's fine. The reality of it is this. Those members of the Access Media, they are terrified that they're not going to be relevant. They're not going to be relevant in 6 months from 6 months, a year from now, right? They are absolutely terrified at the idea of not having a job. And they look at us and they see everybody that's on this other side, the YouTubers who are live streaming, making content, whatever, and they laugh at us. But the reality is that we're laughing at them. Mm-hmm. Because we're playing the long game and we're the ones who are going to win. They're old news. They are dinosaurs in this space. Dinosaurs with no skill set at all to make it on their own. And they realize that. Otherwise, they would have been doing it already. They would have done it 5 years ago. They wouldn't have done it a year ago. They would have done last week. They would have left and immediately started their own thing. But they can't do it. They're not talented enough. They're not skillful enough. They're not pretty enough. Whatever it is, they're not enough of it. They're just cogs in the wheels of the video game industry. That's it. And we're the ones laughing because we're the ones succeeding. I said this over on X, and I said that my initial response was what I wanted it to be. But this is what I actually put out there. I said, I try to be nice people. I really do. I try to find people's best attributes and let them know they're appreciated. But damn, this lady is the worst, most narcissistic asshole I've ever seen. I mean, top of the list for sure. So much so that I was actually inspired by a comment and put out this poll, which, by the way, I encourage everyone to go and vote on this poll. Who is the biggest narcissist? Is it Alyssa Mercante, Darkside Phil, or the narcissist Lex Luger? Who that is a wrestler from the 90s, Steph. I don't know if you know the narcissist at all, but that's the narcissist from the 90s. So let's vote here, Steph. Which we want to see the results.
I just voted.
What's the voting results right now? What's it say?
Alyssa Mercante is at 7. Here, I'll share my screen.
Oh, please. Yeah, I don't know. Some people say DSP. Some people say, let's see what we got. Oh, it's a landslide right now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe that. And I do like that some people are actually voting for Lex Luger, which is great. All right. Nice. Love it. Well, head on over there and vote. That's at Stuttering Craig. And once again, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that, as several of you have pointed out in the chat. Let me see, make sure I have this right here from Ruddy. It says promo code Alyssa. You're welcome, Craig. That's right.
There you go.
You can head over to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member over there. Use promo code Alyssa and get $5 off your annual membership over there. We're closing in on 500 members. I encourage you to do it today, because what I would love to do is I would love to put a tweet out and be like, thanks to Alyssa for signing up 100 new voting members, and just kind of point that in there and just let her know how much we appreciate her championing our award show. So closing in at 500, which is great. You guys obviously have a lot to say about this, and we appreciate it. John says, Craig, if you want to get her on, Chrissy Mayer has an in. That's right. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. I don't think I mentioned this on the show, but when this whole thing with Alyssa went down, with the whole fight me bitch thing, I actually reached out to Chrissy to be like, hey, I got a new character for you. I would love for you to do it on Side Scrollers. And then like a month later, she was doing it on Friday Night Tights. I was like, fuck that. I was like, damn, Chrissy. Joey.
I told her that she should, because she's doing a lot of gaming streams now. I told her that she should stream as either Frosk or Alyssa Mercante.
All the time.
Like,
yes.
one of her characters. Yeah.
Yes. Joey came in. Why don't you read that off from Joey while I get Joey on the wall?
All right. Joey for 50. Thank you so much. Typically, when someone acts the way Mercante is rooted in paternal issues, she probably didn't have that important father figure who teaches her to value herself while teaching her humility at the same time. However, she needs to be held accountable.
Preach, Joey. Preach.
I honestly don't think that she'll ever either, take accountability or look inward, anything like that, as long as she's receiving attention from people. That's why I say it's like a double-edged sword, because you want to call her out and tell her what a terrible person she is and defend whoever she's going after. And on the other hand, you want her to starve her of attention, so that way she's forced to be alone with her thoughts, which is probably the worst thing for a narcissist to be, is alone with their thoughts, because they have so much internal hatred.
Right. 100%. And you're right. It's a double-edged sword. They need to be called out, but they also need to be left alone. So what do you do? Right? You just ignore it, right? But my biggest thing is this is the game industry. This person is a representative of the game industry, and she's actively going after developers who are trying to help her, and educate her, so
yeah, she sucks.
John says, and we talk about the handussy. Let's go. Beard came in and said the problem with lefties is that they think everything should be a democracy, when in reality, democracy is lame and gay in all forms and sinks all ships. Thanks, Beard. Radical Drago says, I like how these people preach about not attacking developers and then go and attack developers. It's truly insane. Yes. A came in and says, Sakurai from Smash Brothers had a video about how important it is to not leave design decisions to a vote. It's critical to have an authority decide. Yes, correct. 100%. Sun Wuku says, I heard through the grapevine that Alyssa knows a thing or two about getting holes filled. John says, once again, Murde Kunte proves the Marxist left projection is still there. They see their duplicitous intent in others. John, I can't read. Why do you put those big words in there? Nathan says Alyssa might have been more successful in Korn if she actually listened to men more. I have things to say about that for sure, but I'm not. Dano says, remember Alyssa ranted stating that to go fight her physically, such a smug individual, and then she can't win her arguments. She runs, hides, and being a coward by going through legal loopholes and becomes a victim. Right? Yes.
Yeah. That's it's such a bully thing to do. Fight me.
Right. Fight me, bitch.
Fight me.
Okay. And then when somebody stepped up, she's like, "No, we'll do it on my terms." Vera, who's on the show tomorrow, by the way. Vera will be joining us.
She's like, no, I don't want to give these types of people any attention. It's like, you're the one that said, fight me. Someone stepped up to the plate.
James says she is divorced, likely from being a cunt. That's why. All right, thanks, James. Beard also says, feel pity for those who lash out in pain, but still restrain them, and if need be worse. Thanks, Beard. Soul Silver says, further reminder that the internet is not a therapist. Yes. And James came back, says, a list from Kotaku took around 60. Hold on. Wait, what? Hold on. A list from Alyssa to Kotaku from about 60 million visitors a month in February to 9 million a month in September since she started attacking everybody. I've been tracking the fall monthly. Thanks, James.
Oh, wow.
Hey, send me that information over on X. I'll retweet it. If you have that information in like easily digestible picture form, that'd be great. Really appreciate that. We do have a palate cleanser today, Steph. You know, we talk about all this insanity, but I do think it's important to cleanse the palate before we say au revoir today. But before we do, Key Rock over on Rumble says, George Lucas did me a favor when he killed my inner Star Wars fan with his trash prequels decades ago. Thanks, Key Rock. Appreciate that over on Rumble. And over on locals on sidescrollerspodcast.com, Spoon Ninja has come in and wants to fight Alyssa, but Alyssa will not fight Spoon Ninja. Thank you so much for your support over there. Delta also said, Alyssa is kind of fun to watch as a fall guy. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting next year when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Judas come out and her defending hit journalist. And then he followed up and says, oh, and that woman who says she worked on Ori and Dota 2 would be like me saying I worked with Unknown Worlds, creator of Subnautica, because I was an official playtester for their previous games. none of the developers would remember me, and that's okay. Thank you, Delta. Appreciate that. Kratos says, here's $10 for Craig to try rereading Duplicitous. Duplicitous? Yes, the C is an S. Duplicitous again. You got it, dude. Hey, Kratos, you're a dick. Thank you for that. All right, let's go to our palate cleanser. Once again, I encourage everyone to head over to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member. I would love to get to 500 members. Can we do it by the end of the week, by tomorrow? I would love that. That'd be a great celebration with Steph. Get the Real Game Awards 500. About 25 away right now. So let's go get over there.
25 away.
Great.
It'd be a nice send-off for me as well.
Yeah, which is great. If 1%, if like less than 1% of the people watching went over to therealgameawards.com and became voting members, that'd be great. We're gonna have a new category up today to go and vote on. So it'll be great, or at least nominate for. All right, let's go to this palate cleanser, Steph. Right. This just comes from No Context Memes, and we're just gonna watch this, and because I just want to see you laugh. It just says a skeleton tells a joke. Have you seen this before?
No.
Okay, here we go.
I have a joke for you. What is a skeleton's favorite snack?
I don't know.
Go on, guess.
Death?
No. Come on, guess.
No.
Come on, guess. Why are you laughing? I haven't told the punchline yet. What is a skeleton's favorite snack? Guess!
You're putting me in a lot of pressure.
Guess! Fuck! Guess! Guess, goddamn you! Why won't you answer me? What is my favorite snack? No! No! What is it? Why must you fail me so often? Ribs! Spare ribs! Fuck!
Oh my god.
There you go. There's your palate cleanser for the day. I saw a lot of people in the chat saying spare ribs, and they nailed it right there, which is great. So, hey, man, it's good stuff. Good stuff right there. Hey, Koa came in, says, fight me, bro. I'm in Texas, JK. Now I feel cringe. Hey, thanks, Koa. Appreciate that. I will not be fighting anybody because I'm a fucking adult. Clemson says, Steph should be on more often. Great insights. Here you go.
Thanks,
Love having Steph watch. She's done an excellent job this week. Excellent job. All righty. There we go. Let's wrap it up for the day. Appreciate you guys popping in. Once again, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Speaking of Steph, you can find her information. You can subscribe to her over at My Nerdy Home over on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Go check out Steph over there. I'm sure she's got some all sorts of great stuff. We're going to finish the week strong with Finish Strong Friday tomorrow when we're joined by Vera Dark. It's going to be a great show. Looking forward to having you guys back then. Appreciate you guys popping in. Head over to sidescrollspodcast.com, become a member. Head over to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member over there and help change video games. This is your award show, not theirs. You guys have a great rest of your day. Remember, if people are going to try to keep you down, don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. See you guys later. Bye-bye.